All right, so I just barely got back from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, and it's not as good as the first one. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Band-aid off, rip it off. All right. I will start by saying I have never been so miserable in a movie theater environment. The Five Nights at Freddy's fan base and community is probably the worst of all of them. They talked through the entire movie and they clapped at random times when something happened. And I've played the games and I know a little bit of the story, and literally every time anything happened, my whole theater went crazy. So it was terrible. Watching it this time around was miserable, and I will not recommend going to see this movie because people are going to be going crazy. It's not good. Point is, so I'm not going to get into too much spoilers yet. I'll give you kind of a heads up, but I'm going to start off with telling you about what the movie does good because it won't spoil anything. I'm not going to tell you specifics. So the very opening sequence, really good. We're gonna get into spoilers. So this is your warning. If you want to go see it, click off. Do what you want to do. So movie starts off. We'll stay on this side because this is where you see the start. So we start off following a character named Charlotte. I almost forgot her name, but Charlotte goes to save this boy who's been kidnapped into one of the back rooms of this establishment, and she saves him, and she dies in the process, and haunts the marionette. The best character in this movie is by far the marionette. She's pretty scary, pretty not like scary, but like creepy, spooky. Best design. They did a really, really good job with her character design this time around. So I thought that was really good that they did that. So they show kind of how she dies and how she gets haunted into the place, the body. Overall, pretty good sequence, pretty scary. Sets up the rest of the movie. And the rest of the movie, until about 30-ish minutes in, is filler. It's just like characters kind of catching up, but they don't really catch up. I'm just going to prerequisite that none of the characters in this movie matter at all, and they don't have any sort of development or personality, and that is really sad to me. Because in the first one, they gave Mike a lot to do with trying to puzzle through his brother's murder, kidnapping, and kind of how that affected him throughout the whole experience. And Vanessa, troubled youth. We didn't know much about her because she wasn't on screen much. Abby, just a kid, loved the characters. And that was kind of it, that's all you needed to know. Matthew Lillard's character being the ultimate bad guy, spoiler. The first movie was really good. And in this second movie, they throw out Matthew Lillard. He's in it for maybe 5 seconds total. I think he's got 20 seconds on screen during a dream, so he's not even actually there because he dies in the first one. Also, spoiler, but he doesn't technically die. They spoil that at the very end. Anyway, so the movie starts with Charlotte dying and then getting put into the marionette. She gets possessed. Or the marionette gets possessed by Charlotte's soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And after that happens, we move into our characters coming back from where they were previously. Mike is normal, nothing crazy. Vanessa's just kind of struggling to, come to terms with the fact that her dad's a killer and that she was almost killed, and she's kind of got PTSD from that, and so they don't really talk too much about it. It's in 2 scenes, so it's not that important to know. And Abby misses her friends at the animatronics from the first movie. So kind of all you need to know. The best sequence in this entire film is when a team of 3 random people that we just met this movie, including McKenna Grace's character and the actor from the Chucky TV show, and then one other person. They all go into the original establishment, or the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 place, and they all die in some pretty spooky and fun ways. Spoiler. But, that's probably the best part of the entire movie is that sequence. It was pretty, not scary, but, they jumped up the horror from the first one a lot, and I think that does justice. The second best sequence following this is at the very end, or more towards the end, like probably 3/4 ish, where Mike is in the office and it feels like kind of the game. Like he's surviving, completing a task of like tracking down these animatronics on the computer, and he's got to survive by putting on the Freddy head, like the games. And I really wish they would have included that in the first movie, and they didn't. So I'm glad that it's here. And that's kind of all the praise I have for it, is those two sequences, because everything else kind of just sucks. And it's sad because I was going into it with kind of high hopes, but this movie takes place around a bigger area. Like it's the little bit of the first location, the new location, like the second one, or I guess the original. So it's kind of confusing. And then the town, like the school, just like the town square kind of areas, like square, I for lack of a better term, but it's a much grander location so that all of the animatronics are spread out, so you get to see them doing things. But it's interesting because they don't really, they're not in the pizza place, and that kind of like ruins the whole thing a little bit. Like animatronics killing people at a pizza place, and they're not ever in the pizza place. The only like the broken animatronics ever really are in the pizza restaurant chasing Mike, or whatever. But trying to think what else is there that I'm really missing. So I don't know. It was just really confusing to me, and it didn't really need to exist, is what I'm trying to get at. So anyway, big spoiler warning. The movie ends with Vanessa getting possessed and also Abby getting possessed by Marionette. She possesses Abby and crawls around Mike's house for a little bit, and then Abby lives. But what I don't like about that, Abby living, is I'm happy that she's alive because she's kind of important to the story. But McKenna Grace, I don't remember her character's name, but I just know the actress who played that particular character. She dies after the marionette possesses her, and Abby lives, and so does Vanessa, I assume, which is weird because it's just kind of inconsistent, and I don't really mesh with that super well. So weird like kind of plot hole, I guess, a little bit of a hole in that story, but I think that just kind of sucked. That was inconsistent from the first time you see the marionette kill someone and like possess them, is that she never does it again, and she never kills anyone else, which is kind of weird to me, that she possesses people and doesn't kill them. So anyway, it sets up for the next movie pretty well, I'd say, and that's really all it does. That's all. The whole reason for this one to exist is so that they can get to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where it's in like the haunted house and Springtrap comes out, and the marionette's going to return in that to keep coming after Mike. I don't really know why she wants to kill Mike. Never explained. She doesn't really have a purpose for it, other than the fact that she hates parents because parents didn't help save her when she was killed. So I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird kind of way that she has like this vengeance, but she doesn't want to kill her killer. She just wants to kill parents, which is fine. That doesn't matter, like the motive. But we're going to jump back to a little bit before this, where a character is introduced, Michael Afton, William Afton's kid, son, and Vanessa's brother. So another family member of the Aftons is introduced. Anyway, I didn't like his character at all. And the reason for that is that he is just evil. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's zero reason for him to be doing what he does. It's not explained at all, and so he's in 2 total scenes. And honestly, like, I can't tell you what the purpose of his scenes were. Like, they kind of tease that he's going to be a bad guy when he smiles when the marionette comes out and like kills the people, and when they come into the the pizza place. So anyway, it kind of set up that he's going to be bad, and then at the very end he like is working with the animatronics, which is kind of weird to me because they're all controlled by the marionette, who's I guess friends with him, because it makes a little bit of sense that they're friends because he hates parents. He wants people to die. His dad was evil and wronged him, and then Marionette was wronged by people, parents. So it's like kind of a tie there, but not really. They're kind of grasping at straws. I don't know. This movie is just really strange to me because it doesn't have any story development at all. Like, throughout the start to the finish, we get nowhere other than the fact that the second or the third movie can now happen. And that's really sad to me that that is the case, because I thought they did a good job with the first one. I thought it was pretty decent movie. Nothing crazy really happened in that first one. They took an interesting direction because they had Mike a little bit more fleshed out as like he lost his brother, and in this time he's just a shell. He's just really a guy now. Like, he has no personality. Everything that they set up in the first one is thrown out the window, and we meet Abby's dad, who's going to come back in the third one, I assume, because he leaves this like taped message for Mike at the end, post-credit scene. But yeah, like, this whole movie is just filler, and that's really sucky to me because the scary parts of it are scary. They're good. They did a good job with like some jump scares and some, tense moments. Nothing that's gonna make you like fly out of your chair because you're probably a grown adult, and unless you're like a toddler sucking on your thumb, it's probably not gonna scare you. The Marionette was creepy and moved around, and there's a few jump scares that actually got me. I don't really get scared by jump scares, but there's a few of them in there that like really kind of shook me a little bit. Like, ooh, I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm not gonna be like curled up in a ball, like, just not being able to sleep because of this movie. But they upped the scary. They downgraded everything else, sadly. The animatronics look amazing, even better than before. They all move really fluid, and there's even more of them, so there's just a ton to like look at and look forward to, and I really like that about this movie. I think that was also a really good thing. They did a really good set design, really good animatronics, and really good costume design for those animatronics. And the highlight being the Marionette, but you never see the Marionette in her like puppet form, which is really sad because I hate the idea that she possesses people to move around. I think it would be way cooler if she just floated around like she did in the games, because she was freaking scary in those, and she was scary in this movie too. Like, the way that she like moved would have been a lot better if she stayed in the puppet and not like possessing people, because I don't really know how she does it. Like, because she has a puppet body, but then climbs into the people, and then they don't die or get bloody at all. Like, I don't know. They just retconned that in because it wasn't in any of the games, at least that I don't think. I'm trying to think of what I'm missing here, because overall it was just a movie that had like just such little to do with anything. And the fans are going to eat it up, right? Like, sorry, I'm going to have a little winter sickness still. But the fan base is going to eat it up because they did in the theater. They were like, oh, that was absolute cinema peak, best movie of all time. 2025 gave us, the second coming of Jesus at that point. Like, it was just a movie and it was fine. I thought it was pretty bad. But the fans eat it up and they clapped, and there was a bunch of people that were next to me that talked the whole time, and they made jokes about some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and there's a few of them that really went into the cosplay, and some of them talked about the lore the entire time behind us, and in front of us there was a baby crying. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's fans are just weird. That's the point I'm trying to make with that. Like, don't go see this in theater, watch it on streaming. It'll probably be better for you, unless you're one of those like super huge fan base, like Five Nights at Freddy's fans, then don't jump into that movie, because in the cinema at least, because it was hard to watch. It was hard to hear. It was hard to focus because of the clowns sitting next to me and behind us. And yeah, I would rate this movie maybe a 5 out of 10. The horror moments being not where that 5 is coming from, because everything else is so bad. It's like Michael Afton's just evil. No goal really in mind other than to like avenge his dad or keep doing his work. Like, I mean, I don't know why he's doing that. Vanessa kind of sucks. She's just kind of mopey the whole time. Not really like she was in the first one, but she has the most character out of anyone in the movie, which is really weird. But I'm glad they did a little bit more with her, but now she's evil anyway, so it's like she's possessed anyway for the third movie, and it's just like it feels like they filmed the third movie and then they were just like, wait, this can't connect. Let's make it connect. So I feel like the third movie's done filming and then they filmed this just to bridge this gap. Like, it's so strange. Like, you'll have to watch it to know what I'm talking about because nothing happens in the whole movie and that's it. Like, nothing happens the entire time. No one achieves anything is the point I'm getting at here. Is the only thing that happens is the movie starts and sets up the third one at the end, and that's it. Anyway, that's kind of just a rant I have. Like, it just the movie was fine, I guess. Like, really stretching that, like, fine, because it did a few things well and everything else it dropped, and that's really sad because the first one set up what could be like some cool future, and this one sets up a really good future with Springtrap coming back and Marionette continuing to chase Mike and Abby and Vanessa being possessed. Like, there's a lot of good cliffhangers and ties that they can pick up and make a better movie because now there's things that they can do. But the whole bulk of this movie, like, it takes place at a science fair where Chica kills a teacher. But what? What are you talking about? And then Freddy wanders into some guy's garage and kills, like, a set of parents. Actually, he doesn't kill them, that he gets stopped. Vanessa drives around. Like, Mike goes places. I couldn't tell you what any of the characters do because they don't do anything. And this has been like 17 minutes of just yapping because I can't explain the story of this movie because there isn't one. The writers wrote a script without any substance. I think they wrote the entire thing to be like the horror sequences. Like, okay, scary, 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 scary. Like, well, in between these scenes, we need some things. Yeah, let's scrap that. What if we just didn't have anything happening and we just had like Mike walk around town? It's like that's what it felt like to me. It's just like people doing things, and it was just so bizarre. The entire experience was so weird for me because the theaters that we were in sucked. So much talking and stuff. No character development or personalities in the actual human characters. No major story elements. This was good scary, but good scary scenes. That's the only good thing that I can say is good scary scenes, good animatronic design, good set design. And the Koryak Kenshin cameo returns. So that is, it was truly a movie. I don't really know. I really can't recommend you go see it because if you just look up like text review or like a text summary, you'll get the same experience. There was very little to like need to watch here. But that is my rant about this movie and how unbelievably strange it was for me to watch. I'm not the biggest Five Nights at Freddy's fan. I should say that. Should have put this at the beginning of the video. I'm not a big Five Nights at Freddy's guy. Sue me. Sue me. It's for kids. It's horror for children and weirdos. It's fine if you like it, though. You're not weird if you like it. I can see why it's popular. It's fun. I've played some of the games. I played a lot of the games. I like them. They're fun. And the story is interesting. Like, when you get to kind of know some of the backstories of some of the things, it's kind of cool. But the fans are just really weird. They're just super diehard. And so they'll eat this up, and it'll get 10 out of 10s from everybody you ask that likes Five Nights at Freddy's. So that's what I think is sad, is because this movie is not good. Simply, to put it simply, it does not need to exist. It just bridges the gap from 1 to 3. And if 3 sucks, then this movie has no reason to exist. Like, if they don't make a third movie, this movie here has nothing to stand on. It doesn't bridge anything from the first one, really. Like, it just has the same characters and name and location. But it's basically just a very fine line between the first movie and a potential third. But if they don't make a third movie, then it's got nothing. This movie is nothing without a third movie. So that's what I think is sad, is it's just setting up a sequel that might not happen. I guarantee it will, though. This movie's going to crush the box office because our theater was full at 9:50 at night. So, and everybody came in like cosplay, dressed up as characters, and like it'll make a third movie. But what I'm trying to say is that this movie sucks on its own, right? It's really got nothing. It's just kind of the bone that's left after you eat like a chicken, like KFC, let's say a chicken leg. You eat all the chicken off in the first one, and now there's just like this bone, and you're like, well, there's just a little bit of meat on it, but not enough, and you want to finish it because you feel like wasting, and then you eat the rest of this one so that you can get to the next one without feeling bad, and that's kind of what Five Nights at Freddy's 2 the movie is, and that's my opinion on this whole movie in a 21-minute rant. That's kind of all I have to talk about. I will catch you guys all later after, probably tomorrow, because the audio is fixed. So I'll continue my 24 days of videos. So see ya.